right? You got to dig down deep inside. So dig down deep inside and say, yeah, man. Irie, Irie, Irie. Welcome, welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Ocala, this place of love, freedom, and learning. I will be dropping in and out of the Jamaican accent simply because I do that from time to time. And my friends make fun of me because, especially if I'm on the phone or something, I'll start out in one accent and then my mom will call or something, and suddenly I go to, yes, mommy, yes, man, may I hear you, man? No, man, that's not what I'm saying. All right, me talk to you later. Hey, girl, what's up? I do it all the time, right? And then they just kind of look at me and laugh. But I told Reverend Cindy that I would do that because there's something to be said about being able to hear it and feel it. And that's why I wanted you guys to experience Jamaica today and to experience this wonderful man and mystic, Bob Marley. Cindy asked me if I wanted to keep the pot leaf, and I said, yeah, man. Right? It's a part of who he was, so we're going to talk about that today. And you guys got a chance to experience. How many people have never heard Bob Marley sing before? Never, ever. Really? No, no, no. It's okay. It's okay. No judgment zone here. The music, and the man transcended his life. He was a very young person when he passed from this world. And the impact that he's had on this world, oh, thank you so much, Kate. The impact that he's had on this world is ridiculously large. Just a teeny, teeny bit. Ah, my people love me. Look at that. Usually I'm the one down here going to Cindy. But this time it's me. I get it now. But the impact that he has is so much greater than just the person. And that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about our impact, how we can connect to our inner mystic. So this time we're talking about Bob Marley, the man and the mystic. And I'm just going to, yes. So we're going back to what Reverend Cindy's talking about for this entire year, and it's Vision 2020, and we're exploring mystics, masters, and paths of enlightenment. That's what we're talking about. So today we're talking about something near and dear to my heart because I am from Jamaica. I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, and I came to the United States when I was 16, almost 17 years old. And that's why my accent just kind of fell away because I've been here for so long, over 20 years. But my heart is still island. There's a part of me, that's the only thing about Ocala that I wasn't crazy about was the fact that I was so far away from the ocean. Because there's something about that ocean, hearing the sound of it. And this morning in the meditation, we brought the ocean to us. Thank you so much, Tad, for doing that. And we brought the sound of the drum, which is very prevalent in my culture. And thank you so much, Mary Lou, for bringing that in. And marrying it to the other stuff. So we're exploring that today. So what is enlightenment and what is a mystic? Well, enlightenment is simply your natural state of felt oneness with the being. Some people call it God, some people call it goddess, some people call it my higher self. Whatever that is that connects you to something that is not your little teeny tiny self, right? It is a state of connectiveness with something immeasurable and indestructible, something that almost paradoxically is essentially you and yet so much greater than you. And then what is a mystic? A mystic is a person who has a direct experience of the sacred. Achieving that sacred or divine experience requires transcending established BS or belief systems, right? Reverend Cindy's been talking about the BS, bypassing the intellect and dissolving identification with the ego self. So there's nothing wrong with your ego because that's what's kept you alive all these years. The thing that assimilates you into your culture that keeps you safe. You know that if you break certain laws, you're going to go to jail. So your ego says to you, hey, keep me safe, don't break those laws. Keep me safe, don't step out in traffic. Your ego is there to help you, but the ego self can also be the driver in your driver's seat. And sometimes you need to recognize who is driving. And if the ego is driving, then you step back and allow your essence, your spiritual essence to step forward. And that is what's driving your life. So we're going to talk about how you can connect to that spiritual essence. So first of all, let's talk about Bob Marley. Who is this man? Right? How many people know who he is? Yay! So I'm just going to be telling the rest of the audience online who he is. I'm pretty sure they know who he is too. He's a Jamaican reggae singer. He was born in Trenchtown. He is a songwriter, musician, guitarist. Nestor Robert Marley was born on February 6, 1945 in St. Anne Parish. My grandmother is from St. Anne, and my mother, we have a lot of family still there in Jamaica. His father was a white British naval captain, Norval Sinclair Marley. He was 60 years old when he met Sedella, who was 19. Country village girl. Fell in love, and because he was mixed, his mom was black, his father was white, he was mixed, and he used to be called white boy back home, which is not necessarily a good thing. There's something about Jamaicans. We have a culture, our motto is out of many, one people. We all came from different backgrounds. The only prejudice that I know of growing up was that you're either Yardie or Yankee. You're either born in Jamaica or you're not. If you had parents that came on a cruise ship and you were born in Jamaica, guess what? You're Yardie. If you had parents that are Jamaican and you were born abroad, guess what? You're Yankee. It's just the way it is. Because there's a struggle that happens that says, let's get off the island. It's all about migrating. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. We're very proud people, but we believe that our message should go out into the world. And that's what we do. We assimilate the world with airy vibrations, with that drum beat. And so that is what he did in his own way. He was very much bullied. He was part of the band, the Wailers. And the Wailers actually meant ghetto sufferers. That's where the term Wailers came from. When somebody loses, especially a child, and that happens in crime, you know, a child can be lost in the streets or starvation. The first thing that a mother does back home is hold their belly, drop to their knees, and wail. The sound is so piercing. Bob Marley wrote a song called No Woman, No Cry because of that. That wail will penetrate you because there's nothing worse than that suffering. He was also Rastafarian. How many people know what Rastafarian is? We're going to talk about that too, right? Rastafarian. So they grew their hair in dreadlocks. You know the reason why they grow their hair in dreadlocks? No? Yeah. It's a connection. They believe that they're coming from the descendants of Samson from the Bible. It's a very Abrahamic culture. We're going to talk about that. It was created in Jamaica. But the locks, actually the significance is that when you grow your hair, anything that you take away from your body or put into your body that is not natural, is not of God. And that is why Rastas don't cut their hair. If you forcibly cut your hair, you are sinning. You're taking away something that God put there. If it was meant to fall out, it would fall out on its own. That's why they don't comb the hair. That's also why their diet is something called ital. It's usually a raw vegetarian diet. Anytime you put fire to something, you are changing the chemical composition of that thing. And it's a very, very strict religion. So he was Rastafarian. And then his lyrics started to take a more spiritual turn. It used to be this ska beat that everybody was like, yeah, jamming, jamming. And then Bob Marley came along and said, wait a minute, we're going to take these spiritual lyrics that are coming to me from Jah, and I'm going to infuse it into the ska beat. And then the ska beat changed to something called rock steady. It became from do 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 da 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 da, right? It became rock steady because it had this feeling of being rocked in your mother's womb. Then the group signed with Island Records. In the late 1970s, they became popular with international audiences. Legend. I spoke to Reverend Cindy, and Reverend Cindy told me that she read somewhere, maybe in Rolling Stones or something, that said, of all the albums that you own, you should always own Legend. Legend is the #1 album for Bob Marley and the Wailers. It's a compilation of their work. And it is so powerful that it has transcended so many languages. People who don't even speak the English language know how to sing. No woman, no cry. Playing for Change showed it. They use a lot of his music because so many people know the lyrics. They might not speak the language, but they know how to sing that the English lyrics, and they know how to connect to it on a spiritual level. And he's also an international treasure. More than 12 million copies have been sold internationally, and several thousand units sell every single week. Bob Marley's no longer here, but I can tell you this. A baby will pop out of his mama and be like, ooh, I need to own Legend. I have to have that album in my life. So when that happens, you know, you say, okay, I'll go buy it for you. Bob Marley actually died of cancer on May 11th, 1981 in Miami, but his body was flown back to Jamaica to be buried. He died because he had gangrenous in his toe, in his great toe. Simple thing. Most of us would have went to the doctor. They would have said, you need to amputate that toe. It needs to come off. It's going to take over your entire body. Bob Marley said something like this. I can imagine him sitting there talking to the doctor saying, God sent me with it, and I'm leaving this earth with it. The same way he won't cut his locks is the same way he would not cut off his toe. And it took his life. However, there is a belief in Rasta that is called ever living. It means that you transcend the physical form and you continue to keep going. So the physical form is of no real importance. So, what is Rastafari? Rastas believe that Jah was Jesus. Of course, right, Mommy? Yeah, man. True right, she said. They believe that Jah is Jesus. You know, I remember when I was growing up and I saw the Rasta people, and a lot of our Jamaican people would think that, you know, they're dirty because their hair, I mean, how do you wash that? You know? But not so. These were some of the purest natural people. They ate pure. They never put, like, they don't smoke cigarettes. They don't drink alcohol. They don't even use salt. That's when I realized I couldn't be Rasta, because I really love salt. Seriously, I really love salt. But here's the thing about salt. It's processed. You've taken the ocean. Now, it's different if you take ocean water, stick it in the sun, and it goes away and you use the salt that's left behind. That is Ital living. They would use salt that way. But regular table salt would never touch their mouth. Going to a doctor would not happen because, again, it's manipulating the body. So they believe in the Old Testament prophets, Elijah, Muhammad. For them, they were connected to those Abrahamic ways. They were connected. It was started in Kingston, Jamaica. They believed that Jah was manifest on the earth as Jesus, and Rastas believed that Jesus was black. Moses and Elijah, not Muhammad, sorry. They do not believe in the afterlife. They instead look to Africa, called Zion, as heaven on earth. They believe that the black people in Jamaica, the slaves that were brought there, Buffalo Soldier talks about it in his lyrics. Dreadlocks Rasta, stolen from Africa, brought to America, fighting on arrival, fighting for survival. Bob Marley lyrics. He talks about the slaves and how they were brought to Jamaica, sold. And so the Buffalo Soldiers decided, the Rastafari believed that Zion is in Africa, and that is heaven on earth. So there is no afterlife. But they do believe in ever living. And what ever living is a spiritual concept that says that even when my physical form is gone, I still exist. I am still going, ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. You'll hear them say that sometimes. Jah, Rastafari, ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. Yeah. Yeah, man. Don't you just love her? She's so sweet. There's also a concept called I and I. So when you hear the Rasta talk, when they say something like, I am going here, they'll say, I and I is going over there. You know why they say that? Because there's I, man, and the great I am, which is I, Jah. I, man, and I, Jah is always walking together. So they always say I and I. I and I go and sit down and eat that food. Not just me and God sitting down eating food together. I is going to talk to my wife. I is going to hug my mother. It's always a connection to Jah. You never exist by yourself. You're always connected to the one. And they also had this thought that said, Babylon. You'll hear Babylon mentioned a lot in the lyrics. And Babylon is actually the structure, the white power structure that was in Europe and the Americas. And the Rastas seek to resist Babylon. And it's not just resisting white people, because you have white Rasta. It's about resisting the structure that was put in place that said that you must be this that separates you from Jah. We must not do anything but be connected to Jah always. Anything that pulls you away from it is Babylon. So, what did Bob Marley believe? Some of his quotes here, and I know they're really tiny, but I'm going to read it for you. Beginnings are usually scary, and endings are usually sad, but it's everything in between that makes it all worth it. Jah Rastafari. Yes, I and I. The greatness of a man is not how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively. Rastafari. Ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. Jah Rastafari. And the good thing about music, this one is my favorite. The good thing about music is that when it hits you, you feel no pain. The universal language, I believe, is music. It transcends language. It transcends everything. It is what feelings look like when you see people dance. It's what feelings sound like. Right? So let's talk about Bob's impact on the world. My wife loves it when I say the word world. World. Oh, heck. I'm trying to change it, but she keeps making, don't. What was Bob's impact on the world? He promoted love and unity. That's it. Love and unity. Love one another. Connect to one another. I is always connected to you. And you are connected to me. Right, man? Yeah, man. Yeah. The most influence Bob had on the world is through the music and political views. He was very political. He didn't shy away from it. Because the ska beat was like, yes, man, we're all having fun right now. Da 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 da. And then he said, wait a minute. We need to connect to the suffering of the people. We need to say it out loud. We need to put a voice to the people in the ghetto, the wailing that is happening on the street. And that is what he did. His views and lyrics had the Rasta influence. It transcended religion, crossed over, connecting others, and he spoke about the suffering, not just of black people, but of all people. All people. He became united in a common belief that love is the only answer, and music can unite. Playing for Change, I know Shanna talked about it this morning. Playing for Change talks about that. That's that belief system that says that you are separate from me. That's that belief system that says that you are a white girl, or you are a black man, or you are Native American. If you were to peel off your skin, what is left? Flesh and bones and blood, and we are all the same. And the thing that holds us all together is love. Jah Rastafari. Yes, yes. So he talks about love for mankind. The biggest one that he has out there song-wise is One Love. One love, one heart. Let's get together and do what? Feel alright. That's what we're talking about. We're going to sing that tonight with Playing for Change. All around the world, people are singing this song. One love, one heart. This morning we talked about that. The drum beat, we all have that in common. We have all heard the beat of our mother's heart. We've all recognized the swoosh of her loins. We've all been swayed in her bosom. We all have that in connection. So that unconditional love of the divine that said, let there be Donna Davis. Let there be Madge Elori Carter. Let there be. this thing that came together and created you. That is who you are. You're not the flesh and bones walking around. If you were to get rid of your human essence, what is left? Your corpse. There's nothing there. But you put that essence in there, and now what do you have? Living, breathing vibration that is unconditional love, staring back through the eyes of that person. And that is what Bob Marley spoke about. So, how do I connect to my inner mystic? How do I connect to this little essence that's inside of me? Well, you can connect in whatever way you want to connect. For Bob Marley and a lot of Rasta, you know how they connect mostly? They smoke ganja. Cannabis. It's natural. The Bible says the herbs for the healing of the nation. I remember the first time I smoked cannabis, I was in a circle. I was about 10 years old with my uncle, and he's Rasta at the time. I don't know if he's still Rasta. But we're in the circle. And when you're in the circle, I believe that it's the one thing, and I told Reverend Cindy I was going to touch on this, but I believe it's the one thing, other than music, that people are willing to share always, no matter where you go. No matter where you go, people might not say, here, have a drink of my drink, or have some of my food. But I can guarantee you, if they have a joint, they want to share it with you. You want to hit? Even if you don't smoke, no thank you. How many people get offered that?
Statistically, almost 80% of marijuana users, even medicinal marijuana users, contribute to others in more than one person.
There's just something about that. It's a community thing. And the Rasta use it to bring together, because it's about the vibration. It's not just about, oh, I'm going to smoke and get high. It's not about that. It's about connecting to the one, connecting to Jah. Because when you're in that state of being, you speak the language of angels. You connect to the one. And I know that a lot of people feel, because it's criminalized, right? People have their own ideas about that. But for Rasta, it's about connecting inside your body. You take in the herb that the earth gives you and connect to Jah and speak the language of angels, and then thus connecting to each person that shares with you. It's wonderful. So, connecting to your inner mystic. For some people, it's deep breathing exercises. Breathe. Take a breath in. You are breathing in the same atoms that have been here for millennia. Stardust, dinosaurs, the dog, your cat, your next door neighbor. We all share the same air. We are connecting. You don't need to smoke cannabis to get there. Just breathe. Get centered. Sit in the silence. It's very difficult for a lot of us to do. To just sit in the silence. Allow your thoughts to come and go. Just like the sky. You are the sky, and the clouds are the thoughts. They pop in and pop out. And when they do, you say, oh, yeah, look at that. I'm thinking about that. And I'm breathing. And oh, look at that. I forgot to turn off the oven. But I am breathing. Oh, yeah, I really should pay that light bill. Oh, yeah, I'm breathing. I have something called a yoga trapeze at my house. I bought it because I thought, stupidly, that I was going to do yoga. I did. I had all this intention in my heart. I'm going to sit in this yoga trapeze. I'm going to do this stretch and do this other stretch, and I'm going to do this and do that. Honey, it has not happened yet. I've had this thing over a year. You know what I do in that yoga trapeze? I sit in it, and I allow it to swing me. There's something about that rocking, that rocking that takes you back to a place of unconditional love where you were supported by your mama. You didn't even know that she existed. If you were to ask that fetus, what is mother? They'd say, what? What are you talking about? They don't know. They're not separated. What is God? What? What are you talking about? You're not separated. You're sitting it right now. It's the seat. It's your body. It's that table. It's them back there talking. It's that plant right there. It's everything. And you're supported. All you have to do is sit and recognize. What's up, girl? How you doing? I like your shirt, man. Yeah, man. And then do what makes your heart smile. Do what makes your heart smile. Anything that you're doing that makes time stand still. All of a sudden you're like, wow, it's been an hour? What makes my heart smile, believe it or not, is talking. Never guess, right? How many people like to talk? Yay, my tribe. Well, there's a time and place for everything, right? And a season for everything. But talking makes me happy. Communicating with words, it makes me happy. Time stands still for me. And another thing that makes me happy, dancing. How many people dancing? Time stands still when I dance. For some people, it's journaling. Some people, it's watching TV. For some people, singing. Oh, yes, child.
How about eating?
Eating. Hey. When it's a good meal, how you doing? Don't playing the guitar, playing music. What else? Tell me. Come on. Video games. I'm telling. Video games makes time stand still, huh? Makes you happy. Listening to the ocean. Yeah. What else do we do? Swimming. Gardening. How about petting your dog? Right? Petting your cat. Playing with dirt. Gardening. Sitting with friends. What else are we doing that makes your heart smile? You just know it, because when you're in that spot, it's like time stands still and you sit there and the smile comes over you and you go, cooking, shopping, reading, coming to CSL Ocala, right? Right? Oh my goodness, I've had people ask me, oh, you're always on Sunday, you're always gone on a Sunday. Yes, because if I don't come here, guess what? My whole week is messed up. The whole week, I can't tell you what day is what. I'm like, dang, what day is it? It's Monday, too. No, wait, was I at church on Sunday? I'm telling you, this place just does stuff to you. How many people smelled the incense coming in the door, the front door? Right? Incense drops me into that space. That's why we wanted a multi-sensory experience today. We wanted you to hear the music and to smell the food and feel the vibration as you came in. Communicate with nature. Nature is there. She is just waiting. She's like, come on out, honey. Come sit under this tree. Let me talk to you. The birds are going to tweet at you. They're going to sing you a song. The sound of the wind in the trees. What's even better? Lay on the ground and look up into a tree. How many people do that? We all had that same image as we laid in our mother's womb and stared up at the placenta, stared up at those veins, the intricate web. It repeats itself constantly. Rastafari. Notice when time stands still. Yeah, man. You just want to say, yeah, man. Right? Yes. Open to your creativity. There's some people that will say to me, I don't know how to create. I'm not creative. I can't create, Other people can create beautiful music or painting or art. We had a friend. Look at this picture back here. See that picture right there? A friend of ours created that picture. She painted that. The story behind that picture, that canvas was in her child's room for years. And she painted over the canvas to create that to give to our house, Irie House. Isn't that wonderful? All of the energy that is mother is infused into that painting because it's what was right there. Creativity. But you know what? I challenge you to know this. We are all creative. Every single one of us. You can't help it. You're creating right now, just sitting here. What are you making? Thank you. Ding, 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 ding. Pin a rose on her nose. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're creating cells right now. We are losing brain cells, gaining brain cells. We are creating right now without even thinking about it, our heart's beating. Can you stop yourself from beating? You ever try to hold your breath really hard as a kid? I'm going to hold my breath until I get what I want. But you got to breathe, right? Have you ever tried to do the stare contest? You got to blink, right? There is something behind you, inside of you, that says, you need oxygen right now. And you can will it all you want, but guess what? You're going to breathe. It's just the way it is. You can tell yourself whatever you want, but you are going to create carbon dioxide. You can't help it. We're all creating. It's the same thing I always say, that everybody knows how to sing. If you can talk, you can sing. I've seen dumb people who can sing because they can hum. Whether or not other people want to hear it, that's besides the point. But you can sing. And we can all dance. Right? Whether or not somebody wants to watch it, that's different. But you can do it. We can all draw, whether or not somebody wants to buy it. How many people have pictures of their children's drawings on their refrigerator? Do we ever stop and say, you're not Michelangelo? No, we pulled those paintings out. We put them bitches on Facebook. Yay, look at this painting. It's just a hand. It looks like a turkey, but artistic, man. Right? We do it. So why would we beat up on ourselves? Each of us have a little tiny child in there. Open to your creativity. And then look for God in everything. In everything. Because God is everywhere. You can't say God's everywhere and then say, well, God's not over there in that spot. That's not everywhere. That's not everywhere. And you can't say God's everywhere and God's not right here. God's everywhere you are. Thank you so much. Out of the mouth of babes. God is everywhere, especially within you. That living, breathing vibration essence that is you is God expressing, doing things, having its being as you. Bob Marley says it. Some people feel the rain and others just get wet. Which one are you? You feel the rain. You step outside and you see the sunshine. This is Florida. Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. How can you impact the world with just your essence? Who you are. Life is one big road with lots of signs. So when you're riding through the ruts, don't complicate your mind. Flee from hate, mischief, and jealousy. Don't bury your thoughts. Put your vision to reality. Wake up and just live. That's how you impact the world. You just live. Your essence is enough. Marcus Garvey is one of our Jamaican national heroes, and he was actually the one he didn't really start the Rastafari movement, but they started because of Marcus Garvey. He says, we're going to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, because whilst others may free the body, none but ourselves can free the mind. Whoops. None but ourselves can free the mind. The mind is your only ruler, sovereign. The man who is not able to develop and use his mind is bound to be the slave of the other man that uses his mind. Free yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Bob Marley says it. Emancipate yourself. So, I'm going to tell you a story of how I emancipated myself from mental slavery. Norma and I started something called Home Beauty Salon and Day Spa a long time ago. And we had this beautiful day spa. I had this vision of having a day spa that women and men can come and get loved on and then go out in the world. The problem is where we were, our location was not the best. And after about a year of gutting this building and putting all our eggs in that basket, we had to close the salon. It was devastating. I remember sitting down and crying, wailing. This was my baby, and I wailed and wailed about it because it was the legacy I wanted to leave for my children. I wanted them to have something. And I also wanted to help the world. Well, about 2 days before we called it officially closed, we had a day at the salon, and nothing had happened. No clients, no nothing. Everybody went home. It was maybe 7 o'clock that night. We're on our way home in the car, and we're talking about, just making peace with having to close. And I get a phone call because the phones are forwarded to our cell phone. And I answer, and this gentleman gets on the phone. He said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're open. I would love to get a massage and a pedicure. Are you available?" And we're like, "Well, yeah, we're available. We ain't made no money today. Come on down." So he said, "Sure." And he showed up. And we used to serve beer and wine at our salon. So he showed up, put his feet in the pedicure chair. We started chatting, got a massage, just having a good old time. And at the end of everything, we locked up. It was a beautiful, pleasant gentleman, businessman. He left, and then we're on our way back home again, and we get a phone call, another phone call, same guy. I thought maybe he left something at the salon. I'm like, "Oh, did you leave your, something?" And he says, "No, I want to tell you something, though. I was told, he's here in Ocala, had lots of money, had business, big business. This is when Taylor Bean and Whitaker was going down. The economy was tanking. We had to close our business. Lots of businesses were going under. And this man had lost everything. Everything. He had a lot of money and lost everything. And when he lost everything, his wife left him, took the children, and all their friends, because they were all with him because he had all this money, right? All of a sudden, he's broke, has nothing." He said, "Let me tell you something. I had rope and a gun in my car. I was headed to kill myself. However, I remember somebody said to me, 'You have to experience a massage and a pedicure before you die.'" And he said he called multiple places, and they were either closed or could not accommodate him. And he was headed. He had already had his plans, already put everything in place. But we turned back around and opened our shop for him. And he said the conversation that I had sitting there with two loving black women, he said he didn't know us. It was a Caucasian man. Two loving black women who were just laughing and talking and loving on him and telling him our story and just exchanging stories about his kids and his dog. And he said, "I believe in people again. I believe that there's people that are good in the world again. I didn't think anybody existed like you two. And so today I decided not to kill myself." Emancipating myself from mental slavery. I thought that my purpose was to have this big shop and to do this whole thing, and all my business went under, and I feel so sad about myself. However, it turns out that business had opened to be in that spot at that moment to save that life. And I closed the shop the next day. That is why when I'm going through trials, whenever something's not working out for me, I stop and I say, "Why was I doing this?" You don't know who you're going to impact. He actually told us. We would have lived our lives and continued on and had no clue that this man was going through this pain. No idea that we were impacting somebody just by being ourselves. We did nothing special. We didn't even coach him. At the time, we weren't even coaches or anything like that. We weren't practitioners. We were just laughing and talking and having a beer with a guy. When you look at someone, you don't know their pain. You don't know what they're going through. Your essence can change a life. Just by your existence, you can change the world. So I invite you to connect to your essence. Connect to that part of you that is. Because even if you can't paint a wonderful painting or write lyrics that move the world. You can smile at the checkout girl. You can pet a dog. Yeah. You can connect with just your humanity. Emancipate yourself from that mental idea that says that you are not enough, that your essence is not important. It doesn't matter how smart you are, or how beautiful, or how skinny, or how rich, or any of that stuff does not matter when someone is in pain and you touch them with your vibration. Just in your own way. And so now we do the affirmation. Does everybody, you guys get what I'm saying? You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah, man. Right? Yeah, man.